We'll chant the meditation verses together. Maunavyakhya prakatita parabrahmatattvam yuvanam varshishthante vasadrishiganaihi avrutam brahmanishthaihi आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रमानन्दरूपं स्वात्मा रामं मुदितवदनं दक्षिणामूर्तिमीढे वटविटपि समीपे भूमिभागे निषण्णं सकलमुनिजनानां ज्ञानदातारमारात् त्रिभुवनगुरुमीशं दक्षिणामूर्तिदेवं जननमरणदुःखच्छेददक्षं नमामि। चित्रं वटतरोर्मूले वृद्धा शिष्या गुरोर्युवा गुरोस्तु मौनं व्याख्यानं शिष्यास्तु छिन्न संशयाः। निधये सर्वविद्यानां विषये भवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। We'll chant the 3 verses. विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरे तुल्यं निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिर्गो भूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः। श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतं मायावीव वृजृम्भयत्यपि महा योगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः। श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये यस्यैव स्फुरणं सदात्मकमसत् कल्पार्थगं भासते साक्षात् तत्त्वमसीति वेदवचसा यो बोधयत्याश्रितान् यः साक्षात्करणात् भवेन्न पुनरावृत्तिर्भवाम्भोनिधौ श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः। श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः। श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। So in these 10 verses, Bhagwan Shri Adi Shankaracharya Ji is praising Shri Dakshinamurti Bhagwan, and through this he is also revealing the essential teaching of the Upanishads. So Upanishads, basically the main teaching is that you are the Brahma, Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, which is revealed in the Mahavakya. That is the main teaching of the Upanishad. And once a person has got faith in this teaching, then there is no need for any philosophies then. So those who have the sadhan chatushtaya, vivek, vairagya, shamdamadi, shat sampatti and mumukshutvam, and approaches a master, and the master tells the student that you are that Brahma, you are that supreme reality, you are that infinite pure existence, consciousness, bliss, and not this body, not these senses, but that pure consciousness itself. When that truth is revealed, the student doesn't need anything else. One gains that establishment in one's own self. But the main obstacle is created by our own intellect. The intellect argues against whatever teaching is given. Our human intellect is such that it doesn't accept anything very easily. Even though you might be sitting here listening very quietly, but so many things you might be rejecting also. It's not applicable. So human intellect is like that it keeps on asking question why, how, what, where, how is this, how, why not this. So many questions are asked. And if the intellect is not satisfied, we don't move ahead. We can't move ahead in our sadhana, because the meditation happens only when the intellect is convinced. If there is doubt in the intellect, one doesn't reach that state of nirvikalpa samadhi. So intellect has to be totally convinced, and intellect gets convinced through rational thinking and through proper logic and all. So therefore, what is revealed in the scriptures, the Upanishads, they just reveal it without going into logic about it. They just, the statements of fact is given in the Upanishad, that you are that Brahma. But in order to satisfy our intellect, many great masters, they have given us the various philosophies, so which help us to comprehend what the scriptures are saying. It's like the world which we see, everyone sees the same world, but to explain this world, there might be various different types of explanation also is possible. For example, if we see that it is raining, then various explanation can be there, and at different levels we feel satisfied with those explanations. If one tells little children that it is raining because some elephants are there standing on the above the clouds with lot of water in their trunk, and they pour it out, and they make noise also. They run around on the clouds. Therefore you feel that you hear the thundering, and the clouds are very dark, so you can't see the elephants. And they pour out that water which they had collected in their trunk. Maybe they come on the ground, they collect the water from the sea, then they go on top and pour it on everyone. Nice explanation. But then if we are little children, we will accept it, but later on we will not accept it. Our intellect will say that no, there is such explanation, because there are a lot of flaws. How can the elephant climb on top and they will be on the cloud and all? They are so fat, they will fall down. So lot of flaws are there in this explanation, and it cannot be proved also. Only we can see elephant on the ground pouring water. So similarly, the statements are given in the Upanishad, and some of those statements are quite fantastic, like Atma alone was there before all this creation. Na anyat kinchana mishata. Other than that, nothing was there. Absolutely nothing. It is one without a second. Then the scriptures also say that from that Atma alone, the Akash came, and from that Akash Vayu came. Etasmat Atmanaha Akashas Sambhutah. Akashad Vayuhu Vayoragnihi Agnerapah Adbhya Prithvi Prithivya Oshadhayaha. Like that, the scriptures say that from that Atma alone that all these things have come. Then the scripture also talks about that with the help of this Maya alone, that Indra, that supreme reality, becomes many. So if you study those Upanishads, all these little glimpses of the reality is given everywhere. It's also said that the whole world is created like the spider weaves the web, yatha urna nabhihi. So the spider weaves the web, it produces the material from its own body, and it itself creates that web. There is no other material required. The spider by itself produces the whole web. So after studying and after gaining that state of enlightenment, the great masters, they have given various philosophies. So these philosophies are explanation of the fact, and for the intellect, created by the intellect only. So these philosophies may have their own defects also, but they are meant to satisfy the intellect so that we can proceed, we get convinced, and we get established in that truth without any doubt. But then, as many people are there, so many philosophies start coming up, and then each one start arguing with the other. So lot of philosophies are there, and they are quite strong in their own presentation, and therefore after studying so many of them, the one which is true to the Upanishadic teaching, we find that is of Adi Shankaracharya ji only, which is very much true and in tune with the Upanishadic teaching, and it satisfies the intellect to a large extent, and one can then get convinced and proceed further. So he has explained the whole phenomena, everything, with the help of various examples and various concepts. So one of the concept is this Maya only, that Brahma along with Maya. So Maya is not another entity, but it is brought about in order to explain. But once that Brahma is comprehended, then there is no such thing called Maya. But from the standpoint of the world, which is experience, we say the cause is Maya, which is Ishvara's Shakti. But once that supreme truth is experienced, then that whole Maya concept itself disappears. It's like in mathematics, we sometimes use some factors which are then later on negated, or in chemistry we have what we call the catalyst. It is useful for chemical reaction, but then it gets eliminated. So this Maya also is brought about. So the whole world is projected in the self, it exists in the self, and again merges back into the self. So the purpose of the scripture is not to experience or to know about the world, but to finally recognize our own self. Like the snake and the rope, lot of explanation might be given why the snake is seen, but the explanations are not to make what you call have some thesis on that snake, but ultimately shift our attention to the rope. So in the first verse, Bhagwan talked about how this whole world is like a reflection in the mirror, it exists in the self, and teacher is one who recognizes this self and who sees the whole world within himself. In the second verse, Bhagwan mentioned that this world potentially exists in that Ishvara. So it is not a first time like projected, but it exists potentially and it is projected, it's sustained, and then again goes back into the unmanifest form. So it potentially exists like the tree exists in the seed. So Ishvara, from the standpoint of Ishvara, who is Brahma plus Maya, and from the standpoint of Atma or Brahma, the teacher was indicated. And in the third verse, the Dakshinamurti is presented as a teacher who reveals this knowledge through the teachings of the Upanishad like Tattvamasi, and also through silence. So Sakshat Tattvamasi iti Veda Vachasa Yo Bodhayati Ashritan. To one who has surrendered, he reveals this knowledge, and having gained this knowledge, one becomes free of this samsara. So having recognized oneself as we are, by, see, when it is said the world is in me, so immediately one also develops that vairagya, because it is in me, so you don't have to go anywhere. We have to recognize ourselves as we are, and that will make us free from this samsara. Now various questions, as I said, arises in the intellect. One question is that how this, if all this world and all the body, mind, intellect, everything is just an appearance, how do this appearance have the ability to know, to comprehend? You say that everything we have to do to satisfy the intellect. How does the intellect, which is inert, which is an appearance, how does the intellect has this capacity to know, to comprehend, to understand? So how that knowing take place in this material world, inert world, how knowledge happens? That is now presented in the fourth verse. So let us chant this verse. Nana chitra ghatodara stitamaha Deepa prabhabhaswaram Jnanam yasya tu chakshuradhikarana Dvara bahispandate Janamiti tameva bhantam anubhati Etat samastam jagata Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Nana Chitra Ghatodara Stitamaha Deepa Prabhabhaswaram द्वारा बहिस्पन्दते जानामीति तमेव भान्तमनुभाति एतत् समस्तं जगत् तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये. So this supreme reality is indicated in the scripture as of the nature of Sat, Chit and Ananda. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Sat means pure existence. Chit means pure absolute consciousness. And bliss means pure happiness. And because of this Maya and because of this world which is projected by that Maya or Prakriti, one doesn't comprehend that supreme reality. It is as though covered by this world. Just as the snake covers the rope, the world as though covers that supreme. In Gita also Bhagavan says, Maya tatamidam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina. That I pervade this whole world, but I am not seen, I am avyakta. Though I pervade the entire world, I am hidden, I am not seen. Similarly, the supreme reality exists in each and every particle of this world, not only outside but within this body and mind and intellect, but is not seen, is hidden. Just as I gave example yesterday of that hide and seek and the mother hiding under the blanket. So the mother is hiding under the blanket. Mother is not seen, but she is not that, but one can infer the existence of the mother through the blanket also. We can see some movement in the blanket. Blankets generally don't move. At night, if you see blankets moving, then be careful. Blankets don't move. But here you see a blanket moving. Blanket don't make noise, but you see blanket making noise also. So, though the mother is totally covered by the blanket, she is revealed, she reveals herself through certain signs, or through certain signs we come to know the presence of that mother. Similarly, the supreme reality is as though covered by the blanket of this world, but certain signs are there by which one can understand the presence of that supreme. And those signs are seen through the world only. So one sign which we have seen in the last, I think, verse is the presence of that reality is experienced in the matter which is constantly changing in the form of easiness, ease. We experience everything of this world as ease, as present, as existing, though it is not existing. According to our logic, according to our experience, it should not exist, because it is that which constantly changes doesn't exist. It's just an appearance. That which changes is not real. And we see that everything in this world constantly changes. Constantly it undergoes change. It never remains same. So it is a changing world, and therefore not real. It's only an appearance, but still that appearance is experienced as ease, as existing. So the existence which is being covered as though by this world is presenting itself, is shining through the false world as is. Understand? In the same way, that Supreme is also conscious. It is pure consciousness, consciousness per se, pure consciousness. That consciousness also shines forth in this world in what you call, in the subtler matter as consciousness, as life. It shines forth as life in subtler matter. So, for example, this body, mind, intellect, it is not only experiences ease, but there is also one experience oneself to be alive. One is conscious. There is consciousness in my ability to know is there in my senses, ability to know is there in the mind, in the intellect, which is made up of matter. Mind is also matter. Intellect is also matter. It's subtler matter. Intellect is also matter. We have seen in Tattva Bodh also that all this, the 24 tattvas, therefore all this text help us to understand each other. So there are these 24 tattvas, all of them are matter. They are all expressions of Prakriti only. So Prakriti itself is expressing as this 24 matter. And matter is that which doesn't have consciousness of its own. Matter is defined as that which is seen by a conscious principle. It is something which is, somebody is aware of it. It doesn't have awareness of its own. Matter cannot be aware of itself, nor it can be aware of anything else. That is the matter. But still, our mind, our intellect seems to be conscious. Intellect has got the ability to know, mind has got the ability to feel, senses have the ability to perceive. So all this is because of the presence of that consciousness which is hiding behind, as though is presenting itself as conscious, what you call consciousness in this mind intellect, makes it alive. To give example of the sun and the water itself doesn't have ability to shine. Water doesn't have light of its own. But when the light of the sun falls on water, the reflection of the sun gets created, and because of that the water starts shining, and it can shine other objects around it also. Similarly, the presence of that consciousness in the mind, in the intellect, makes it as though conscious, alive, and it gets the ability to know. This is the explanation of Vedanta, of how the Jada matter becomes, get the ability to know. It doesn't have its own ability, but it is because of the presence of consciousness. To give another example, I have given like the sun which shines, at night also the sun shines, but we don't see it because it's below. The sun is shining at night also. If you don't believe, then call your friend in Australia or somewhere. They will say that it is shining bright at present. So it is shining down under. But it is shining not only there, but if you look up, it is actually the rays of the sun, because the earth is so small, sun is so vast, so rays of the sun is spreading all over the sky also. But we can't see the sky bright because there are no objects to reflect the light of the sun. The sun is there shining in the dark sky also, but there are no objects to reflect the light of the sun. When the moon comes, then the moon reflects the light of the sun. We see the moon so bright up in the sky, in the dark sky, otherwise everywhere, but the moon is shining bright. We see so bright. But even where there is no moon, same light is there, but there is no object. So it is like objectless awareness. Objectless awareness. But when object is there, the awareness gets reflected. Similarly, the pure consciousness is objectless consciousness, thoughtless consciousness. Thoughtless consciousness might sound little strange. Consciousness without thoughts, consciousness without objects. But same consciousness, when get associated with thoughts, the thoughts start shining, and the thoughts as though gains the ability to know, as though. So the reflection of the consciousness is there in our mind and intellect, and there are these thoughts. There are two types of thoughts, I thought and this thought. So that I thought is also shining and this thought is also shining. So that I thought gets the one experiences that I know, that experience or knowledge happens that I know, and I know this. So that knowledge that I am and I know that I exist, or I am and I know this, happens in the thoughts because of the presence of consciousness. Just like at night, the whole thing gets illumined by the moon. The moon might say that I am illumining the world. The moon is like our mind. Moon is also the devata of our mind. The moon might say that I am illumining this whole world. But moon is really not illumining. Moon itself has borrowed that light from the sun, and then it's illumining the world. Similarly, the mind has borrowed the light from the consciousness and seemingly illumines the world. That has been presented here. And through this, the glory of the self alone is revealed. The pure, and by shifting our attention from the world, from the mind, to that which is illumining the mind, we will be able to comprehend the self as it is. If we try to comprehend it through the mind or as the mind, then it is, we are limiting it. If we think that the brightness of the moon itself is the brightness of the sun, we are limiting the brightness of the sun. The sun is much more brighter. The moon is tiny little speck in the glorious spread of that luminosity of the sun. The moon is tiny little speck. Even in the whole disk of that moon with all its brightness, if it taken, that is no comparison to the brightness of the sun. Similarly, if we identify only with our thoughts and our mind and says that that only is the Atma, that is limiting that Atma Tattva. So one has to understand that Atma as that which is illumining that mind and also indirectly illumining the world. The self illumines the mind, the thoughts of the mind projects the world, and the consciousness indirectly through the mind illumines the world also. The world is also illumined by the consciousness. So that is been said here कि नाना छिद्र घटोदर स्थित महादीप प्रभा भास्वरम ज्ञानम यस्य तु चक्षुरादिकरण द्वारा बहिस्पंदते जानामि इति तमेव भान्तम अनुभाति एतत् समस्तं जगत तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये. My namaskar to Shri Dakshinamurti, who is Guru Murti, who is Sakshat Guru, and whose knowledge here means that pure consciousness, Jnanam Yasya, who has that pure consciousness. So here the teacher is revealed as that pure consciousness, as Jnana itself. Guru himself is knowledge. Guru is knowledge, means that pure consciousness itself. Knowledge doesn't mean that in the form of thoughts, but he is Sakshat, that pure consciousness, knowledge per se. So Jnanam Yasya, whose knowledge Chakshuradi Karana Dwara Bahispandate, through the eyes and through all our senses, as though go out and illumines the world. First it illumines the mind, intellect, it illumines the senses, and through the senses it illumines the world. So we see the world because of the presence of this consciousness alone. It is not that the world is making its presence felt, but I am seeing the world. For example, the dream. It is I am seeing the dream. The dream is not making me see itself. I am the creator of the dream and the seer of the dream. When I wake up, the dream doesn't come and say, oh, please look at me. So this consciousness through the senses goes out as though and illumines the whole world. So because of the presence of consciousness in the mind, there is the thought I know, janami, I know, and tameva bhantam, when it shines, anubhati etat samastam jagata, after it shines, the whole world shines forth. First the mind, intellect becomes conscious, and then through that mind and intellect one becomes conscious of the world. We become conscious of the world. Just as our computer, when we switch on the computer, first all the things inside the computer itself gets warmed up. Then suddenly the screen becomes bright and all the icons and everyone comes there. First the inner equipment gets illumined by the electricity, and then the screen gets illumined. Similarly, our mind and intellect gets illumined first, and then it projects the world and the world gets illumined. To make it more understandable, Bhagwan is giving an example here. He says, you just imagine a pot, Mahaghata, a big pot. How big? Depends on your imagination. Don't imagine too big also. So big pot. And that pot, you imagine that there are many holes in that pot. Holy pot. Many holes are there in the pot. Imagine? Yes. Now imagine a bright light kept inside the pot. And imagine the whole, it is kept in a room which is totally in darkness. The pot is there and bright light is kept inside the pot. Then what we see, that through the holes we see the light coming out. Like in America and all, they have this festival, they what they call it, Halloween. They make those pumpkin and make different holes and all and keep light inside. और उसमें से बाहर वहाँ पर we see it coming out. So that bright light is like the pure consciousness, and all these holes are like our senses, and it is that light from inside itself comes out through the holes and illumines the world around it. From the outside, when we look at it, we might feel that the holes are illumining the world. We might think that holes are very interesting, they are illumining the world. Holes are not illumining the world. Holes are also getting the light from that light which is there within. Now imagine this pot, when the holes are all open, it illumines the world. When we close all the holes, then what happens? Then the light doesn't go off. The light is there. The light is there, but it is as though withdrawn from all these senses, and it's just lying. That is like our deep sleep state. All the light is withdrawn and we are just lying there. All the eyes and ears and everything is shut. We are inside. The brightness is within. With that brightness itself, we create a dream world. We don't require our senses to see things in our dream world. One girl was dreaming. She used to use specs. And then she had to read something in her dream. So she got up and looked for her specs and again wore it and went to sleep. That need not be done. Even if you can't see in the waking state properly with your eyes, it's very strange. You can't see, you can't read. ये क्या लिखा है कोई समझ में नहीं आता है. But in your dream, without even using specs, you can see. Very strange. You can read, you can see, you can walk, you can run. In the waking state, you can't even move. There is joint में pain होता है, कमर में दर्द है. But in your dream, if you sometimes you participate in the marathon race and all, and you run like anything. How did you run? Because the brilliance which is there within, it illumines the mind, and that mind projects the world inside itself. The waking world is projected outside the senses as though, because it is projected by the total mind. So for what is within the total mind seems to be outside our senses, seems to be outside. But in our dream, we project the whole world and experience that world. We become the knower of that world, we become the world, and the whole world exists in me. And when I wake up, I swallow the whole world. So just as a bright light kept in a pot goes out through the senses and illumines the world, Vedantic theory or perception is that consciousness reflected in the mind as though goes out through the senses and pursues and touches that object and perceives that object. We perceive the object when it is as though illumined by consciousness, when it is made aware by the consciousness, when it shines by the light of that consciousness, then only we come to experience that object. See, anything we experience in this world, we have seen in the Drigdrishya Vivek also, has got these 5 aspects are there. You remember them? Because usually we forget whatever we have learnt before. Who remembers 5 things? and Rupa. Very good. So Asti Bhati Priyam Nama Rupa. Amsha Panchakam. So when we experience an object, it is experienced as Asti, is, Bhati, it shines forth. So that Asti and Bhati and Priyam is not really in the object, it is in the subject. It is not there, but it is in me. It is seen as though there, but actually it is in me. I am existing, I am conscious, and I am of the nature of happiness, but it seems to be presented as though outside in the object. It's like looking into a mirror. I am standing here, but when I look into the mirror, it seems as though I am standing there. Mirror is very strange. I am standing here, but the mirror makes me feel that I am standing. From here also I can see my reflection in the light and the glass window there. So it appears as though I am sitting there and speaking. But I am here, I am not there. This we know. Similarly, even though I feel that the object is there and it is shining and it is Asti Bhati Priyam, that Asti Bhati Priyam is not there, it is I myself. It seems to be there, reflected there, but I am reflected there. So that pure light of consciousness through the senses goes out. So Chakshuradi Karana Dwara Bahihi Spandate, through the eyes and ears and nose and all, as though goes out and shines out, and there is an experience of Janami, I know, and by the light of that consciousness itself, everything, all the objects also shines forth. Tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam etat samastam jagata. This whole world also shines forth by the light of that pure consciousness. That consciousness is Dakshinamurti. That consciousness is the Guru. And to that consciousness, my namaskar. That is the meaning of the words. So, to that consciousness, to that pure knowledge, Tasmai, Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam, Shri Dakshina Murtaye. To that pure consciousness, this my namaskar. By his light only everything gets illuminated. Tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvam idam vibhati. Even while we do the arti and all, na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhanti kutoyam agnihi tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvam idam vibhati. That supreme consciousness is that which cannot be illumined by any light of this world. By the sun, by the moon, by stars, by lightning, by a lamp, cannot illumine that light. But by it, when it shines, everything shines. Like in our dream, by my light only the sun which I see in my dream also shines. You are dreaming that you are on a beach in the afternoon and the bright sun, but actually you are sleeping at night and your whole room is dark. And if somebody is watching that body sleeping, they will say, तो एकदम अंधेरे में सोया हुआ है, अंधेरा कुछ दिखाई नहीं देता है. But that person will be surprised. His eyes are open and he is sitting out in the sun with bright light and getting all drenched with perspiration. Nobody will imagine. Nobody will imagine this. They will say, "Kya bakwas karte ho?" Similarly, when a realized master is sitting, we will say, "Oh, he is sitting in his kutia." He is not sitting in his kutia. He is sitting in the throne of enlightenment. Nobody can imagine. We only see his body. We say, "Oh, he is sitting in kutia. He is sitting there only." He is not sitting there. Body might be sitting there, but he is sitting in the throne of enlightenment. So to that teacher, Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshina Murtaye. So this is the knowledge which one has to acquire, the knowledge of that consciousness, am I am Atma Brahma, Prajnanam Brahma, this Prajna, this consciousness am I. Not knowing this creates all delusion in our life, and that delusion, confusion is presented in the next verse. What are the various confusions which are possible are all presented in the next verse. Deham pranam apindriyanyapi chalam buddhincha shunyam viduhu Stri balanda jadopamastvamati Bhranta brusham vadinaha Maya shakti vilasa kalpitamaha Vyamoha samharine Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshina Murtaye Deham Pranam Apindriyanyapi Chalam Buddhincha Shunyam Viduhu Stri Balanda Jaropamastvamiti Bhranta Brasham Vadinaha Maya Shakti Vilasa Kalpitamaha Vyamoha Samharini Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namai Shri Dakshina Murtaye. So Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam. This namaskar to Shri Guru Murti, who is Shri Dakshina Murti, Sakshat Bhagwan Shiva as Dakshina Murti. Who is Dakshina Murti? Who is the Guru? The Guru is one who destroys the delusion. Mahavyamoha samharine, one who destroys the great delusion. What delusion? Who has created that delusion? It says Maya Shakti Vilasa Kalpita. It is imagined by the power of Maya. This great delusion which is imagined by the power of Maya, the teacher destroys that illusion, this delusion. What delusion you are talking about? He says delusion is simple, considering yourself as something else, someone else. The fact is I am that Brahma, but considering myself anything other than this is called delusion. Atmani anatma buddhi. In the self to have the notion of non-self, something other than the self, is called delusion. Like the rope and the snake. अरे बाप रे, फिर से आ गया. In the rope, if you have the knowledge that it is rope, then that is called the knowledge. That's called wisdom. But instead of that, if you have any other knowledge, that is called delusion. Suppose one person has got the knowledge that it is a snake, and another has got knowledge that it is a garland from the temple, it is khas, brought, पूजा करके garland वहाँ पर रखा हुआ है. That is also delusion only, maybe sattvic delusion. But it is also delusion. Whether you consider it as a snake or the garland or any other thing other than rope is called delusion. Similarly, I am that pure Brahma. Aham Brahmasmi. Mano buddhyahankara chittani naham nacha shrotra jivve nacha ghrana netre nacha vyoma bhumir na tejo na vayuhu chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham. I am that pure Shiva, Chidananda Rupa. If I know myself to be that without any doubt, then I am free of delusion. If I know myself as anything other than this, if I accept myself to be someone other than this, then I am in delusion. Even though I might have studied all the Vedanta and all, but if I consider myself as someone other than Brahma, then I am in delusion only. And what are the various possibilities of considering myself? So the sky is the limit. As many possibilities, there are different dehas are there, so many possibilities are there. Various possibilities are there. But the basic few possibilities are revealed here. But this doesn't mean this much is the possibility, more are there. See, right knowledge is one, but how many wrong knowledge is possible? Sky is the limit. One teacher gave the sum, calculation is add karo, you have to add all these numbers. So the student came and gave the answer. I have added and this is the answer. And the answer was wrong. The teacher said, you do it again, do it 10 times. So the student did 10 times, again came back and said, teacher, I did it 10 times, here are the 10 answers. Cannot have 10 answers, should have one answer. So there are various possibilities, confusion is possible. That is presented here. One is, most popular is, Deho aham, I am the body. Aham deha, I am body. See, even those who regularly study Vedanta and they contemplate and all, but when they meditate, first thought is that I am the body only. Even when they ask for meditation, they will ask about the body. कि कैसे बैठना है, क्या करना है, हाथ कहाँ रखना है, पैर कहाँ रखना है, सर कहाँ रखना है. सर अपने कंधे पे रखो. So, and when we sit, we identify with the body and we say that I am a man or a woman. That concept comes in our head. I am young or old. I am Indian or I am American or I am some other country and all. So that all this concept related to the body, if it comes, if my focus is on the body, then I am deluded. I am the body. If that experience is holding, has caught my attention and it is occupying my time, then I have been deluded. That's called delusion only. Deham. That I am the Deha. This is the grossest delusion. See, sometimes even after knowing, we hold on to it. Why? Because we are not convinced. The intellect is not very convinced. The intellect says, ठीक है, I am Brahman. But अभी थोड़ा सा बाद में देखेंगे, अभी भूख लगी है. So I am body, this notion is very strong. It doesn't go very easily. And this is one notion which is there. Then pranam aham, that I am prana. We feel that, okay, some people might say that, no, I am not the body, but I am the life inside the body. I am the life. Because body is not alive unless we breathe. So the breathing keeps the body alive. So I am that breath. I am the life principle which makes the body also alive. So I am life. But life is like life in animal, life in bird, life here, life there, life in a mosquito, life in a bacteria. Life doesn't have any perception, any sense. So one may say that no, I am seeing, I am hearing, I am tasting, I am touching, I am perceiving this world. I am the seer, I am one who hears the world. So one may identify with the senses and consider that as Atma. So Indriyani api. So Deham Pranam api Indriyani. Then Chalam Buddhim. Some may identify with the Buddhi and consider that Buddhi as Atma. Then in the Buddhist philosophy there is what we call the Kshanika Vijnanavad. They consider the Atma as Kshanika, as temporary, as taking birth every time. Along with the thought, the Atma is also born. That is one philosophy. That the sense of I, which is associated with thought, is born along with the thought. They don't say that Atma is different from the thought. They say the Atma and thought are same. So every time the thought is born, the Atma is born. So Kshanika Vijnanavad. So Chalam Buddhi it is called. So even if I consider myself as that, that's also delusion. Then there is Shunyavad. Again in Buddhism, they believe, some Buddhists believe that ultimately nothing is there. Shunya. Neither the world is real, nor the substratum. There is no substratum of the world. So according to them, the snake is also illusion and the rope is also illusion. Nothing is there. I am also not there, you are also not there, nothing is there. Now seeming existence is there. So when we gain that nirvana, we become nothing. So Shunyavad. So considering oneself as Shunya. It has got its own defects. When one goes into it, there are some logical flaws. Flaws are there in the whole philosophy. So Deham Pranam api Indriyani api Chalam Buddhim cha Shunyam Viduhu Stri Bala Andha Jadaha Upamaha tu Aham iti Bhranta Bhrusham Vadinaha. All this Aham iti, that I am the Deha, I am the Prana, iti Bhranta Bhrusham Vadinaha. By delusion, one considers this as I, Aham. And this is nothing but Bhranti only, a delusion. Falsely assumes oneself to be this. And they argue about it also. Vadinaha, they are that Vadis, they argue. Their opinion is that. Like a deluded person, deluded Stri, Bala, Andha, Jada. Jada means totally deluded person. That person can be anybody. Can be a woman, can be a child, can be a blind person. Because of this delusion, one considers oneself as this body or senses or pranas, which are all Prakriti. So the Prakriti is considered as Atma. And all this happens because of Maya Shakti Vilasa, because of the play of the power of Maya. Kalpita Mahavyamoha, this is a great delusion. And the teacher is one who removes this delusion. The teacher is established in the experience that I am Brahma. The student who is established in the wrong notion that I am body, that notion gets eliminated and he also gets established in the same knowledge. It's like the lamp which is lit and another lamp is there which has got the oil and the wick, everything ready, and if that is taken towards that lit lamp, what happens? This lamp also gets illumined. And then when you see both the lights, you will not know which was lit first. Both look same. Both look same. But this light, which is this wick and all these things which are ready, if it stays away from the teacher and all, it will not happen. कि आप वहाँ पर रहो, मैं यहाँ. You can teach me through internet. I will log on and we can Skype. We can talk on that. वैसे काम नहीं चलेगा. The wick should go to that lighted and stay as close as possible. And as it comes closer, it gets that heat. Again close, and at a particular distance, suddenly it also gets lit. Similarly, a ripe disciple approaches the teacher with the right attitude and surrenders to the teacher. The teacher reveals this knowledge, by which the student also comes to recognize himself as that Supreme Brahma. So deham pranam apindriyanyapi chalam buddhim cha shunyam viduhu stri balanda jadopamastvhamiti bhranta brisham vadinaha maya shakti vilasa kalpita maha vyamoha samharine tasmai shri guru murtaye namaidam shri dakshina murtaye. Now we will meditate. You all be ready. Close your eyes. Bring your attention in the present moment. Drop all your restlessness. Just give yourself this 10 minutes. Give yourself a chance. So bring your attention in the present moment. Become aware of now. Become aware of now. Become aware of here. Here and now, you are pure existence, consciousness and bliss. When you shift, go away from here and go away from now, then the world begins. Samsara begins. Samsara is there in the past and the future. Where there is no past, where there is no future, where there is no time, there is no samsara. So now is the tiny little hole through which, if you enter, you can experience eternity. So bring your attention in the now, in the present, and just be in the present moment as pure existence. पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ।